Hi, YouTube friends. Sorry, old habits die hard. I'm back. Yeah, boy, Jeff Bezos is back with a new place, as you can see, and ready to go on the YouTube. I would like to thank YouTube for making my shitty video explode in the algorithm and boosting my channel. And also, I would like to thank all my new subscribers who I don't know why you click the subscribe button, but enjoy the ride. It's gonna be fucked. And yeah, this is my new series that it's not actually new. I think this is the second episode of what the fuck am I doing at 3 a.m. with my life. As you can see, my face is always in prime condition for YouTube. So let's get on with it. I would say we're fucking ready. Let's go. So it all starts with Windows. Then fucking Windows. It's not bad. I mean, Microsoft kind of managed to make a miracle. Oh, before talking about operating systems, actually, I would like to mention that I have Windows, Mac OS, and Void Linux on this computer in triple boot, but I have tried Plan 9, BSD, distros, all that stuff. This is a little parenthesis for the nerds watching. You normal people can ignore the bullshit I just said. But yeah, anyway, Windows is honestly kind of a miracle in the sense that there are programs from Windows 3.1 or Windows 95 that still work today, and it's crazy because if you are a company and you acquire software in 1998 and the company that makes this software goes bankrupt, you what are you gonna do? Not update your operating system to keep using this stuff? Windows basically fixed this issue, although they can't do it with drivers because drivers have to be made specifically for the kernel of the version of the operating system. But so that's why you could have issues with all devices that don't have Windows 10 drivers, for example. But with programs, it's usually pretty incredible, I must say. But this does have its disadvantages. Windows is able to do this because it carries over 20 years of code that no one can remove because it will break backwards compatibility. So, you get layers and layers of bloat. Just Windows is really layers upon layers of crap. It's crazy, and it has so many services enabled by default, and it has so many things. It's just bloated, basically, but it's alright for certain things like gaming, for example. Even if nowadays gaming on Linux is quite astonishing, we're gonna talk about that later. Windows is still a great option for gaming for sure. You have 100% guarantee that all games will work and you have the best graphics drivers, etc. But I wouldn't say the same thing for music production and video production, for example, because drivers can cause BSODs or just Windows is unstable in general, shit crashes and memory fills up. I don't know, it's not really optimized. And having worked on a lot of productivity software on Windows, I really want to go back. Productivity, I mean, Photoshop, Vegas Pro, that kind of thing. But I mean, it's an alright operating system. It's great for companies because the policy system is uh, very comfy for companies. They can just decide what you can or can't do on your computer remotely. They're like, yeah, now you cannot install programs. All the company cannot install anything. Magic. Um, but yeah, I think Windows has limited uses. To be quite honest with you, and I know this is maybe an unpopular opinion because you can sort of do anything with Windows, but you sure really want to do that? I mean, Windows is fucking slow and unstable at the end of the day and insecure. Um, so yeah, I don't even know why I have it on my computer, to be quite honest. Let's go on macOS, which is what I am using right now. macOS, weird beast. This one, I have to say, it's weird that it's proprietary, like Windows, but at the same time so different. Like privacy-wise, you can really notice that macOS cares, but in the end, you could say it's still proprietary software. It's not open source. You can trust them. You'd probably be right, but at least you can see an effort, in the operating system for privacy, which in Windows is kind of fake. Like they pretend to care about your privacy, but the controls are, well, not fake, but you know what I mean. And macOS, I feel, is great because it combines the best of both worlds of Windows and Linux, which is the possibility of using commercial software, Photoshop, Final Cut, Premiere Pro, Ableton Live, whatever, and it will be more stable than Windows. The core audio sound API, sound library that macOS uses to control sound cards has way less latency than was API on Windows. You basically don't even need ASIO on macOS X. It's just doesn't the audio doesn't have latency because the engine is not 20 years old like in Windows, with the downside that, of course, every couple of years when you update your operating system, you have to upgrade your programs and vice versa. But the APIs stay modern. And macOS, let me show you. It has this powerful Unix terminal that is just like, just like the Linux terminal, basically. I can't type today. I'm trying to type on two keyboards at the same time. Yeah. And let's run NeoFetch just because it's a meme. I know people will hate me, but you gotta run NeoFetch, Oh, and you guys can see the output. Yeah, so you get this stuff, but at the same time, you also get all your favorite Photoshop and whatever, I think it's pretty neat. It does have its downsides. They kind of went too heavy on security and privacy. It can kind of be a hassle handling OS X sometimes. It warns you 1,000 times. Sometimes blocks kernel modules and you have to do weird stuff. But overall, I mean, when it comes to security, I really think prevention is better than curing, So they're paranoid, but probably for good reasons. And of course, the big downside of macOS is that you have to buy a Mac, which I am not a huge fan of. I'm gonna be honest with you. And maybe until the 2012, 2013 models, But since then, the newer ones, I wouldn't buy them. Soldered SSD, encrypted, you can get the data off of it, soldered RAM sticks, intentional design flaws. So yeah, please don't tell Tim Cook, but I am running macOS on a fucking ThinkPad because Apple, if you make a laptop that doesn't break if it falls like my fucking ThinkPad, I will buy it. For real. But until then, I will just use macOS X on my ThinkPad. Anyway, I think it's time to go on to Linux, which complicated. Oh, it's a rabbit hole, guys. Probably I'm gonna do a separate video on open source software and why the fuck you should care. But for now, just need to know that Linux is generally way slimmer than Windows and depends Mac OS X, to be honest. Linux used to be way lighter than Mac OS, but lately the new desktop that Fedora and Ubuntu started using is quite heavy, I have to say. It uses more RAM than my macOS setup, but let's forget about that for a second. Let's say Ubuntu, for example, that has XFC, which is super light, that you can use to revive old PCs. I mean, there are Linux distros that have system requirements of Windows 98, except they have all modern software, modern web browsers with modern ciphers, TLS, etc. So, I mean, you can find a Pentium 4 and give it a new life. Just and try doing that with Windows 10. Yeah. Linux is just, besides being light, sometimes there are also heavy distros, but it's super customizable. It's made up of a lot of tiny little pieces, and if you don't like one piece, you can take it out or swap it for another. So if you're an expert user, you already know this, and you probably already use it, so you probably already know. Yeah, but for people who don't know, you can do anything with it. It's like nice toy. You can really not do anything you want with Windows or Mac OS X. Not having access to the source code is just super limited. While Linux, you can literally, I mean, I I lost count of how many devices in my house run Linux, to be honest. At this point, it's on my router, it's on my Chinese Game Boy clone. Just it runs everywhere. It's fast. It's open source, so it's really the best option for privacy. And of course, there's always a but. It comes at a cost, as do the other operating systems. Linux is, well, hard. I would say, well, it's gotten easier, way easier in the last years than it was before. Like you don't need a university degree anymore to use it, let's say, but still, it can be a pain in the ass sometimes. And also the availability of software is not that great, especially if you use proprietary software. There's a lot of proprietary software that doesn't run well on Wine or Proton, which are solutions to run Windows programs on Linux natively, which by the way Steam uses, and I encourage you to try this. Install Fedora. That's what I recommend for beginners at least. Install Steam and enable Steam Play in the settings, and you will be able to play any Windows game on Linux, and it should have pretty much the same performance. Try it out. You'll be impressed. There's a few games that don't work, like the DirectX 12 ones, I think. But gaming on Linux is serious now. It's like I've been using Linux as my main gaming OS for 5 years, and it's better than macOS because macOS not really great at running games from what I've seen, and you just don't want to deal with Windows. I mean, whatever software, if it runs on Linux, then great. Less issues, less anxiety. Just it works. So I wouldn't really know the answer to the question that is in the title of this video. Which operating system should you use? My answer is fucking depends. Basically, it's not like one is better than the other. As I've said, there are pros and cons to each, and the key is do not forget that dual boot and triple boot do exist. You can install Windows on your Mac with Boot Camp, or you can install Linux on your Windows computer side by side and having them both. You can also share files between the two without, like, only sharing data files of programs without sharing the operating system stuff. You should really experiment, especially because Linux distros have a live option to try them without installing them also. And if you are a graphic artist, like an illustrator, or a musician, or a video producer, just get a Mac. Just save yourself the pain. Battery lasts long, the screen is amazing, Mac OS is made for it. I wouldn't buy it still, but if you do that sort of job, then I would definitely recommend that. And Windows, well, basically how Windows works is you just use Windows when nothing else works. So if you've tried Proton on Linux and it doesn't work, and you try the Mac version, maybe if it exists and it doesn't work, then you can use your Windows partition, for example. I'm just kidding. That's actually what I do, but now it's useful Windows for productivity stuff and gaming, and data collection. So fucking good luck deciding, guys. I honestly recommend everyone to get a triple boot setup, but macOS, don't even think about installing it on non-Apple hardware. Like, yeah, I've done it, but trust me, you don't want to do that. It's a pain in the ass. Every time macOS updates, you risk of losing everything. Apple, don't sue me. I was joking. I don't have macOS X on my computer, by the way. But yeah, it's not easy to install on non-Apple hardware. So if you do that kind of professional job, then fucking buy a Mac and you save yourself some issues. If you're a gamer, buy yourself a fucking gaming PC, and then I guess use Windows. Cool fact. Or you can use Linux also, because some games have better performance, actually. And that's it for the desktop side of things. Now we will be left with part 2, which is the server side of things. Oh, and I can't wait. I can't wait to tell you guys all about Windows Server and its beauties. I don't believe that I've talked 20 minutes without cuts and unscripted. Um, and if you made it up to this point of this video, my sincerest congratulations go to you for enduring this. Anyway, be good kids or Santa won't give you presents. Remember to try Fedora in live and don't buy a Windows license.